Before we start this episode, I'd like to remind you that you can buy Python Learning Lab, a coding book I wrote, by going to go.kidslearninglab.com/Python Learning Lab. You can buy the digital book by going to our store at patreon.kidslearninglab.com. Additionally, I'm very happy to announce that Kids Learning Lab has just reached 10,000 all-time views. This is an incredible milestone for our podcast. Again, if you'd like to support a kids podcast made by a kid, me, keep sharing this podcast and telling your friends about it. Now, let's begin this episode. Welcome to Kids Learning Lab, a learning podcast made just for kids. In this episode of Kids Learning Lab, we'll be talking about cars. You might have heard about gasoline cars and electric cars. Maybe you have both. Before we can start talking about how a car works, we need to know the history of cars. Who invented cars? Nobody actually invented cars themselves, but it was more of a slow creation. The first powered vehicles were steam-powered train engines, dating back to the 1800s. Steam-powered trains were a game-changing invention and made travel so much easier. Train companies in the United States even took the time to lay out a railroad connecting the East Coast to the West Coast, calling it the Transcontinental Railroad. Back then, trains were the only option if you wanted to travel pretty far. The first actual cars were mainly steam-powered, just like these trains. They were developed mainly around the year 1900. However, these first cars were slow and impractical. The most popular cars in the 1900s were actually electric cars, because they were quiet and easy to drive. However, gasoline-powered cars quickly became much more useful than electric cars in the 1910s. Mostly because you can easily refuel a gas car quickly at a gas station, and gas cars can run longer with less fuel. Electric cars required 8 hours of charging and had small battery capacity. Nowadays, electric car charging speed has become faster but is still slow, and on average it takes about an hour to fully charge a Tesla battery at an outside fast charger. At home, it can still take up to 12 hours. Now, let's talk about how the car actually runs. Gasoline cars run on gasoline, which is a refined version of petroleum. When you go to a gas station or petroleum pump, gasoline is poured into the tank at the bottom of your car. When a car actually starts, a pump pushes the oil to the engine, where the magic happens. When you turn the key or press the engine start button, a small fire is started and lights the gasoline. The gasoline is burned and then smoke is released. This smoke pushes a chamber with its force and then exits out the exhaust pipe. The chamber then turns an axle which turns the wheel. But then how does a steam-powered car work? Or even a steam-powered train? Steam-powered cars work mostly the same. Water is poured, and coal is burned to heat the water into steam, which pushes a chamber again and exits out the top. The chamber again turns an axle and the wheels move. Well then, how does an electric car work? Well, electric cars work by running off of a battery. If you remember our How Does Power Get to Your Lights episode, we talk about the flow of electric current. This is the same electric current which powers a motor in the car. Motors work with electromagnetism. You probably know what a magnet is. Well, one cool thing about electricity is that electric current can generate a magnetic field. Motors use this field to push a shaft, which turns the wheels. Cars are amazing inventions that let you drive far away. Thanks for listening to this episode, and don't forget to check out Python Learning Lab by going to kidslearninglab.com/Python Learning Lab. Thanks for listening.